Hello everybody and happy Saturday. I'm Barbara Ann and welcome back to my channel Straight Out of Context. Today we are going to deep dive into one of my favorite artists and singers on the entire planet, and that is Céline Dion. Yes. I have 3 pages of notes right in front of me, and I have spent 2 days deep diving into information on her life, her career, her marriage, her children, her husband, her home life, her childhood, and I'm just going to dive right in. Okay, so you're going to see me look down often because I'm going to be referencing my notes here because there's a lot and it's in French and English, so I don't really want to mess up anything. Okay, so Céline Marie Claudette Dion was born on March 30th of 1968 in Charlemagne, Quebec, Canada. She was born to her father Ademar Dion, who unfortunately passed away in 2003, and her mother, Therese Tanguay Dion, who, again, sadly passed away in 2020. Now, we know that Céline Dion is French/English. We know that she's Canadian/American now by choice. But did you know that Céline Dion is one of 14 children? Yes, that's right. You heard me correct. She has 13 siblings. There is, stick with me here, Céline, Michael, Ghislaine, Linda, Liette, Menon, Jacques, Pauline, Louise, Danielle, Claudette, Denise, Paul, and Clement. 14 children. Big French family. I know what that's like because my mother's father was one of 5, and his father was French, and his father was French, and they actually migrated to Upper Michigan from Quebec. And my great-grandfather was one of 11 siblings, and his father was one of 14. Big families. And his mother was one of 16. So, yeah, really big French families that come from Quebec. So we know that must have been rough growing up with 13 siblings. I mean, any one couple having 14 kids, that's a lot on your plate financially and physically for very many years, I would assume. So we know that Céline Dion started singing from a very young age, pretty much her entire life, 3 to 5 years old. She started singing because her mother was a singer, and she had several siblings that also sung. But when she got to be about 11 to 12 years old, she really started looking at singing in a different way because she had the vocal ability and the talent that people recognized in her. So this is where we're going to dive right into her husband as well. Okay, Rene Angelil was born in 1942. Okay, he was born on actually the same day as my son. He was born on January 16th of 1942, and we know that he passed away on January 14th in 2016, which was only 2 days shy of his 74th birthday. But hang in there, we're going to get there. René Angelil was a Canadian music producer, manager, and singer himself. Yes, he was a singer himself, an aspiring singer. Now, we know that in 1980, Céline was 11, turned 12 that March. Okay, we know in 1980 is when she had recorded a tape of her singing, and René Angelil was given that tape. He had Céline, contacted her parents, had Céline come in and audition for him, which then he decided to manage her career. He believed in her so much that he financed his home, like remortgaged it to finance her first album, which is pretty extraordinary if you ask me. That really says a lot about what he felt when he heard her sing. I can only imagine what that audition was like and what he got from that he refinanced his house to be able to finance her career and to jumpstart it. And so that's pretty young. I know people like Sloan and other YouTubers have made videos about Céline Dion and have called her husband a groomer and have actually stated in thumbnails and on captions that she was groomed by her husband. But I'm not going to jump to that conclusion, okay? I'm not going to jump to that, and there are several reasons why. It could be true. It could be not. I haven't really formed my own opinion on that because there's a lot of information out there, but there's a lot of things that kind of suggest that that may be true with the overlapping of relationships and marriages and children, but I'm not going to speculate, and I'm not going to assume, and I'm not going to say something defamatory just because it would get clicks and views and comments and likes on my video. I'm not going to do that because I absolutely love Céline Dion. She's a beautiful, amazing singer. She's very talented, multifaceted. She is a mother. Okay, she is a widow. So I deeply love and respect her for that as a human being, first and foremost. So we know that René Angelil, in 1966, he married his first wife, Denise Duquette. Now, they divorced in 1972, but their son, Patrick Angelil, was born in 1968. And I want that to sink in because 1968 is also the year that Céline Dion herself was born. And we know that he divorced her in 1972, but in 1974, not even a year and a half later, he marries Anne Rene Kerouac or Kerouac. I'm sorry if I botched that. Kerouac is how I'm assuming. So they have two children together. Jean-Pierre, born in 1974. They married in 1974. And Anne-Marie, who was born in 1977. Now, him and Anne Rene divorced in 1985. Now, we know that's 5 years after he first meets 12-year-old Céline Dion and starts to become her manager. Now, in 1985, when he divorces his second wife, okay, Céline Dion would be 16, turning 17 that year. So we know that in 1984, he marries Céline Dion, and that they were married for 22 years until he, unfortunately, death did them part. And they have 3 children. Rene Charles, who was born January 25th, 2001, which makes him 23 right now, and fraternal twins, Eddie and Nelson, who were born October 23rd, 2010, which makes them 14 right now. So René Angelil had 6 children throughout his 3 different marriages. Now, this is where things get a little bit kind of confusing for me because this is where I've really done a lot of deep diving into if there was any kind of grooming going on, if this really was an inappropriate underage relationship or not. Whether it be Canadian law or by U.S. law, anything under the age of 18 is kind of iffy. So in 1994, Céline Dion did an interview with Access Hollywood. And in 1984, of course, she gets married. Now, she tells them that they had actually been secretly dating for 6 years. And in 1993, she was 25. 1994, she would have been 26. Now, that they had been secretly dating for 6 years, that would put her at 19. That she was 19 and he was 45. But then she also told CNN in an interview that that actually wasn't correct, that they had started dating a year earlier than that when she was only 18 and Rene was 44. Now, some of the stories that they had put out there was that on April 30th of 1988, 3 years after he had divorced his second wife, when she attended Eurovision, okay, she would have been 20 years old at this point, that this is when their relationship officially began. But we know that's not true because Céline Dion herself has on 2 different occasions contradicted that. With the Access Hollywood in the CNN interview, she said that she was 19, he was 45, and then it actually was a year earlier when she was 18 and he was 44. And the reason being because her parents did not approve of this relationship. Her mother never approved of this relationship. She tried to break it up many times. She did not like the fact that he was this old, that he was twice divorced, that he had children. And if you come from a Catholic family, being divorced once is no, let alone twice. You would be excommunicated for that. Especially because his first 2 marriages did involve children. So I think her reasoning for keeping it secret was not necessarily because this is my private relationship between me and him, but maybe because of religious reasons, because of her career, because of his career. Maybe they wanted to keep that personal between them. But we know that on April 30th of 1988 when she attended Eurovision. She sung a song called Ne parlez pas sans moi, which translates to "Do not speak without me." And that this is when their relationship officially began. But we know that's not true. Their relationship began before that. But this is when her and Rene say that it became sexual in nature. That the falling in love part had happened when she was 18, roughly 2.5 years before this. Whether that's true or not, I'm not going to speculate. But for anybody that wants to say, without a doubt, that her husband groomed her, okay, there's no signs that even with his first and second marriage that he ever did this, any kind of grooming or anything inappropriate with somebody under the age at all before. And that he simultaneously had a marriage and children while he was managing her career from the age of 12. So do I think something sexual is happening there? Absolutely not. I think his wife would have found out. I think her parents would have found out. I think something would have happened there.
You met, though. You were much, I mean, she was like a baby. How old was she when
she was 12 years old.
You didn't fall in love then?
Don't start a story. They're going to write that.
She was 12.
She was 12.
When did you realize you were in love?
Well, you know, I got divorced.
You didn't fall in love then?
Don't start a story. They're going to write that.
She was 12.
She was 12.
When did you realize you were in love?
Well, you know, I got divorced when she was about 17, 1985. And we were always together, traveling together and working together. And one day in Dublin, actually, we were in Dublin, in Ireland, for the Eurovision contest, 1988.
Lucky country for us.
Yeah.
What did you say?
And I didn't say nothing,
much.
but at night, you know, when you kiss goodnight, always kiss on the cheek. And well, that night, I made like a little stop right here, and
A little stop.
and everything changed.
Had you fallen in love by then?
I was in love a long time before that.
So do I personally think that something inappropriate happened there? I really don't think so. I don't think there was any grooming, but I would like to also say that grooming is not always a negative and pessimistic type of thing. Some people groom to go on to ABUSE people, but grooming can also be positive in nature, okay? This could be the start of a very not healthy underage relationship. And this person being almost 40, he being the adult, him being the manager, he already is in a power position over this young, impressionable female. Now, if he's doing things like remortgaging his house to finance her first album and making things actually happen in her singing career. Now, we know by the time she's 20, in 1988, that she had a few albums that she's done pretty well so far as the trajectory of her career. Now, him making this stuff actually happen for her in her career. You know, the grooming can be a positive thing. You know, it's not necessarily negative and always leading to physical, emotional, and mental ABUSE. Grooming can also happen when somebody has money, power, influence over you, and they're doing things to take care of you, to take care of your parents, to take care of your family, to take care of your career. They're making things actually happen for you. You know, there can be grooming, and to some extent that maybe he did groom her to then become a wife one day. You know, do I know if their relationship was inappropriate before she was 18? No, I do not know that. You do not know that. The only people that know that is Céline Dion, and she's the only person left out of the two that would know, alive, unfortunately, right now, who can actually say. Do I think that's the case? No. No, because she never attended any kind of singing event or anything else like that without a chaperone or without her mother and father. And so she was very much closely watched by him. I'm not 100% sure if she ever attended anything with just him alone or not. I can't speak to that. But I do know that her mother was very much, and so was a few siblings, very much chaperoning her until she was of age. Okay, so I think that they're telling the truth, that maybe emotionally and mentally the falling in love part happened earlier when she was 18, but it didn't become sexual till she was 20, when she did attend Eurovision on April 30th of 1988. That's when it actually started. And I'm going to take them at their word, because that is what they have said in interviews, that is when it became a physical relationship. Inappropriate, that's up to you to say. There's lots of people that fall in love. I mean, if you look back 80 to 100 years ago, it was very common for somebody who was 22 to fall in love with a 14-year-old girl or 15-year-old girl and get married. And still today in the United States, if you have parental consent, you can still get married at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You can still marry somebody that's technically an adult. So, inappropriate, I'm not going to say yes or make any kind of defamatory or libelous remarks about Rene, because there's no proof and evidence that there was anything other than the fact that he really did manage her career. He might have just knew right away from hearing her voice at 12 years old that this person is beautiful and talented and she is going to go far. And maybe that is the extent of that. I think maybe it was more on her side, that maybe it was her more falling in love with him. But again, him having done what he did for her career and her family and her parents and her, and actually making things move as far as making her career take off and really taking care of her financially and in other aspects. That could be considered grooming to some. It could be considered a positive type of grooming. Maybe he did fall in love with her and have feelings for her, but he just waited till she was older and she reciprocated that. Now, it is kind of unusual that he's got a lot of the births of his children and his marriages and divorces overlapping. You know, I can't say for certain, but neither one of his former wives have ever came forward and said anything unusual or bad about Rene. So that, as far as that goes, is that. Now, we know that they spent 22 years together, and we know that they loved each other, because you can tell by the way they looked at each other that they loved each other. You can tell she was just smitten with him their entire marriage. And he passed away on January 22nd of 2016 from throat cancer. It was 2 days shy of his 74th birthday, and his funeral was broadcast live on TV in Canada. Over 1 million people watched it, and it took place in Montreal's Notre Dame Basilica, which I believe that is also where he is buried at. And Céline Dion, still to this day, has made commentary that no matter where she goes, no matter what she does, she always has a picture of him. She still considers herself to be his wife and still considers herself to be married to him. I just want to mention to everybody right now that I had to mute the clips out because YouTube is trying to hit me with a copyright disclaimer because of the sound. It belongs to copyright, obviously, for the soundtrack for the I Am Céline Dion documentary. So I'm muting that out. But I just want to show you the clip of what she goes through on a daily basis. I think that's really important and really key. But I also am going to show you why that's even more important, to pay attention to the fact that she was snubbed by Taylor Swift when she had her carer, did all of that to come to the 2024 Grammys to present the Grammy for the winner of Artist of the Year, which Taylor Swift then did win. Why it's even more important that she completely overlooked her. And in the clip that I'm going to show you, you see her take Lana Del Rey and Jack Antonoff up on stage. Okay, Max Martin did the production, music, writing on Taylor Swift's first 6 albums. The last 5, Jack Antonoff has done. Well, Jack Antonoff has also done Lana Del Rey's album, which was also up for, which put her in the nomination for Artist of the Year. So Taylor Swift bringing Lana Del Rey and Jack Antonoff up on stage made her completely overlook the fact that, well, she's doing that to basically say, ha, I'm the better artist because he worked with me and he worked with you, but yet I'm the winner. She goes on to embarrass Lana Del Rey in front of her own producer, in front of all of her peers who were all working on projects, who all deserved to have recognition. And yet she was so focused on that narcissism of saying, ha ha, I'm the winner. Because if she really felt somebody else like Lana Del Rey deserved to win it, she would just forfeit it over to her, right? That's what you would do. If you're an artist and you truly feel that way, you would just give it to your best friend because you feel like she genuinely was the artist of the year. But that's not what happened. And she was so focused on that she didn't pay attention to the fact that she completely snubbed Celine Dion. And while she was so focused on basically embarrassing and humiliating Lana Del Rey in front of all of their peers, she didn't even take into consideration the fact that she is calling Lana Del Rey her friend, and she's so lucky to work with Jack Antonoff, and she is such a legendary artist who's in her prime, and all these girls and women aspire to be like, and she's the inspiration because she's a once-in-a-lifetime legendary legacy artist. Yet Celine Dion is right there, dealing with a disease that could have impaired her ability to even come, but she didn't let it stop her. She still showed up. She still presented the award, and she is a legend in and of her own right. Her voice is a legend, and for anybody to snub that, I'm not going to sit here and say that Taylor Swift is a narcissist because I can't diagnose that, but that is very narcissistic, borderline histrionic, sociopathic type of behavior. Because everyday normal people would be so honored and grateful to even be in the presence of Celine Dion, let alone be given an award from her. So this puts it in perspective what Celine Dion is going through, how absolutely horrendous those actions and choices of Taylor Swift really were. But this video is not about that. This video is about Celine Dion and her legendary career, her legendary voice, her life, her disease, and the fact that there is hope after all of that because she's still going, she still has it in her, and I'm rooting for her all the way, and I'm here for it, and you should be here for it too.
Lana Del Rey was hiding, but I think so many female artists would not be where they are and would not have the inspiration they have if it weren't for the work that she's done. I think she's a legacy artist, a legend in her prime right now. I'm so lucky to know you and to be your friend. I would love to.
I totally botched that and totally forgot to acknowledge Celine Dion until Twitter had to tell my PR team and manager that they were really unhappy with the way I snubbed her. Then I tried to hurry up and take a quick picture with her to make it seem like everything was cool. But it was what I was saying on stage that really blew back everything because the legendary female artist that so many female singers and artists wouldn't have the inspiration for is standing right there, and her name is Celine Dion. Not Lana Del Rey, I'm sorry. Considering somebody who cannot even sing live, right? Celine Dion has done nothing but sing live at every one of her concerts and shows. She doesn't use auto-tune. She doesn't use main vocal tracks. She sings live because she is the voice. The voice of the last 100 years. She's got it. She's got it. Multifaceted, international, bilingual, but the sound of her voice and her vocal range is unmatched. Now, right there, that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking, the way that she talks about not being able to sing the way that she used to, and the muscles in front of her lungs prevent her from being able to get the sounds out that she is used to being able to get out. When God gives you a blessing, like a voice, like what he gave her, that to share it with the world, and then to not be able to do that, I can't imagine. It must feel like everything you are is being taken away from you, is dead, is gone. But that's not true. If I could tell Céline Dion one message, I would tell her this. You are an extraordinary woman, wife, mother, singer. Your voice, your recordings, the singing you gave to the world, that is forever. You aging and your disease does not diminish the fact that your voice is still a gift to the world, that your recordings are still a gift to the world. Nothing can diminish that. Even if you cannot perform live the way that you used to, nobody is going to love you any less by expecting more of you with what you're going through. The fact that you can ever do another performance ever again would be extraordinary. And people wouldn't care because they are there to see you because they love you. I don't think, and I don't agree with her statement of that fans get to come to me and say, hey, wait a minute. I bought a ticket. I'm expecting da-da-da-da-da. No, I don't agree with that at all. Rene Angelil. We know he passes away on January 14th of 2006. His 74th birthday was 2 days later on January 16th of 2006. Céline Dion also lost one of her brothers on January 16th of 2016, 2 days after losing her husband, which would have been his birthday, and her brother also passed from the same exact throat cancer that Rene did. Rene, he cried the first time he ever heard Céline sing for him. When she was 12 years old and he actually heard her on tape and had her come audition, he cried. He believed in her voice and her ability to have a career, that he refinanced his own home to then fund her first album. Now, he was an aspiring singer himself and a producer and a manager, but his life's work, his legacy is Céline Dion, is their children, is her career. And there is something to be respected and honored and valued in that, because had she not had him, would she have gone on to write some of the best, most iconic love ballads of all time? And we also have to remember that while these songs are probably inspired and mused by René Angelil, these great, amazing love ballads that she has written, but we also have to look at the fact that Céline Dion herself, she speaks French, she speaks English, she's a born Canadian, but she's also an American by choice. So she's multifaceted, she's bilingual, and that is something most other artists don't have. So I deeply am humbled and respect by her and her work. Okay, and that's the only thing I wanted to add here. Also, to pay homage to Renee's life, to Céline's life, and for her to know that even if she doesn't ever tour again or be able to get up on stage and perform like she once did, that it's not over. You left a legacy of amazing work, of amazing songs in French and in English, and are international. Not many artists can say that. Not many artists can say that they have the hit songs that she has. And those recordings, those albums, they're forever. They're a gift to the world that's always going to be here, even if she can no longer perform them live the way that she would want to. And I really hope that she knows how much she is beloved, because she truly is. This is not the end of her journey. As far as her career I don't think it's the end. I think she may be limited, but I don't think it's going to be the end. And I'm so happy to see her still putting one foot in front of the other, as she says, that if she can't walk, she'll crawl. If she can't crawl, she's never going to stop. So I absolutely love that message, and I love the fact that she is the victor of her own life and her own story, and not the victim because of the circumstance of her having what she now has. Publicly, she's come out in December of 2022 and told us that she has stiff person syndrome, which is also known as stiff man syndrome. It is an autoimmune neurological disease that affects the muscles by causing them to be rigid and spasm and tighten up and basically lock up. And we know from the documentary that she said that she's been having some very small symptoms of this for years until it progressed. And it is a progressive disease. Only 1 in 1 million people will ever have it. And it is largely misunderstood and misdiagnosed and underdiagnosed. She's not the only person on the planet that will probably ever have it, but that is a very, very rare disease, 1 in a million. So with that said, I'm going to cut to this clip, but don't worry, because even if you don't hear sound, it's because I had to mute for the copyright because of the song. What you just witnessed is not voluntary. This is what she lives with. This is what she deals with. This is what she has had for a very long time and recently came public about. This is what happens to her body. So can you imagine if this is what is happening to her muscles? Her ability to sing the way that she once did has been affected. But I'm so grateful to her for showing this, because it shows a reality that a lot of us go through, that we suffer with privately, with all kinds of different disabilities, that we don't get to verbalize or speak or have any kind of understanding. And I'm so grateful that she put that out there in the world so people will have an understanding. Because education is the best way to counteract ignorance. And I'm grateful to her for that. And with that, I'm going to end it right there. Go give it a watch. Go give it a watch. Please. Even if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can sign up for free for 30 days and cancel it and never pay anything. Go give it a watch, because it is a beautiful documentary. And I love the fact that she plays the victor of her own life and her own narrative and not victim. Céline Dion even if you lose your voice and your ability to sing. You are still the voice of the world. We love you. And with that said, have a happy Saturday, everybody.
If you want, send me all the love you can. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Stick around. Give me a chance. You might like what I have to say.